So, with all those things said, what would have happened have I, with those ideas in mind, would have made all the sequel movies? So, let's start at the beginning. Let's start with The Force Awakens. So, everything is the same. The First Order is trying to track down Luke Skywalker. We see how Finn is defecting from the First Order, helping Poe escape. The thing that I'm changing in this version, Poe stays with Finn throughout the entire running time. Like, Poe and Finn became closer after their escape. They start bantering together, maybe complaining about how they have to land on the planet Jakku, how they encounter Rey, and how that creates a friendship between the three of them. All three find Han Solo, go into the Millennium Falcon. They go to the cantina where Rey is captured. We see Finn wielding Luke's lightsaber. We see Han and Leia reconnecting again. The plan of breaking into the base. So, given the fact that the base here is not Starkiller base, and I will make the base and where the First Order is establishing on, I will have it be on Hoth. In this case, the planet where the Empire Strikes Back managed to take over. So I'm gonna have that planet be run by the First Order because they believe that was a significant victory for them, and they believe that they could make an empire because after all, what's more cold than that than, literal ice. So with that, we see them display their forces into the planet. Since there is no hostile takeover of the galaxy, I will have them be more of a terrorist group, The First Order are terrorists invading the cantina on the planet where our heroes are. Kylo captures Rey, trying to find out where the map of Luke Skywalker is. Have the torture scene where Rey could not resist Kylo's powers, force her to confront her past. But after that, she managed to use her skills on technology to escape, maybe outwit some of the stormtroopers. Have Finn and Han and Chewbacca go into the planet, into Hoth, find Kylo Ren. There you can see the mask of Kylo. You can see underneath, and you can see that he's a regular human, and you see Han calling him Ben. Just like that, then Kylo kills his own father. Han is dead. Our heroes try to fight Kylo, but Rey is unsuccessful. Then after that, we have the scene in which Finn fights Kylo with the whole, that lightsaber belongs to me, and Finn says, come and get it. Have Finn fight Kylo throughout the final act. Like, there's no indication of the Force, but then in a moment of pure desperation, we see Finn feeling something that he never felt before, and then use the Force to push Kylo. We sends him into a rage. Kylo cannot believe that a stormtrooper, a traitor, is using the Force, and he deems that as unacceptable. So he goes into a rage. They trying to destroy each other, but then in a moment of destruction where our heroes invade Hoth and take it over or destroy the base, we see Kylo being separated from Finn, and you leave as it is. Finn goes into the search of Skywalker with the map that R2 had on his hand. You can have the heroes saying goodbye. We see Finn and Rey and Poe hugging each other, saying their goodbyes, and then we see Finn encountering Luke for the first time, and that's where we lead to Last Jedi. Now, talking about The Last Jedi, what can exactly do in order to rewrite that entire movie? I mean, there are a lot of complaints that they were made about The Last Jedi, about the structure and the pacing and the characters. So I'm not trying to do my best, is what I'm trying to say. Trying to make it into something different. For example, The Canto Bite scene. A lot of people saw that as pointless and it didn't add up anything to the story, and others have argued that that is the point, that it was supposed to be pointless because it was supposed to be about Finn's arc and how he realizes that being unbiased or being in between is not necessarily good because it just makes you an ignorant or not better than those who are oppressors. So many people saw that, but here's something that I would rather do with the Kentobite scene. I would put it at the beginning of the film. In this case, I will have it be like a mission. The heroes, Poe and Rey, alongside other resistance fighters or New Republic fighters or soldiers, are infiltrating. This is basically a spy mission. They're trying to recover, instead of Codebreaker, they are trying to recover an arms dealer. And in this case, I will have it be played by the character of Benicio del Toro, which I said it was going to be called Jarius. No DJ, I hate that name. But yeah, this is the point. That they are trying to recover this arms dealer. He's making some gambles. You can have a lot of hijinks, and at the nick of time they managed to get him, free some space horses if you want to do that commentary of oppression, and basically our heroes are on the way. And it's basically like that. Meanwhile, Leia is on the base and they're trying to figure out a plan to find a Supreme Leader Snoke and not destroy him or arrest him or whatever. Find a way to stop the First Order. And while all that is happening, we see that Finn has spent some time, like in one of the complaints that I heard about The Last Jedi is the time lapses. Like they were trying to say this story about Rey and Luke and how they were on an island, but you don't know how much time had passed while the Resistance were fighting the First Order or escaping from them. So in this case, I will have some time be passed. Like for a long time, Finn has been on the planet Ahch-To, and he was trying to get Luke into fighting, but Luke instead is teaching Finn about the Force, how this Force, this kind of power can be useful not for self-gain but to help others, communication, lifting logs, like we are all luminous beings, like having be like this version of Yoda but be on in Luke's terms. Like he's trying to teach Finn about how to control the Force, and you can go into backstory. You can have two actors interacting with each other. You can have Finn talking about his history with the First Order, Luke sensing some goodness because you can say, oh, you broke out of the First Order. I heard about this program chip they put it into the Stormtroopers, but I never saw one break it out that intensely. Maybe it's a trauma, or maybe it's something more, and you can go deep into that. Then maybe the Force chose him, or you can also say that maybe his force of will was so strong that the Force sensed that and allowed him to not only fight back Kylo Ren, but fight back his program, and that is one of the goals. And meanwhile, while they are having interactions, what about Kylo Ren? So remember the Last Jedi with Kylo having that Force communication with Rey? So how can we incorporate that into the story? Well, I'm not going to have it with Finn because basically they are complete opposites, which maybe that's the point. But here's one of my proposals. Instead of being, having the Force communication with Finn or Luke, have it be with Leia. Yeah, think about it. We never saw a scene between Adam Driver and Carrie Fisher, and they're basically family. I mean, Kylo is Leia's son, and he killed his own father. So why not have a connection? Why not have a Force connection? You can even have Snoke saying that he's doing this, and you can have Kylo using that connection to find out where the Resistance is. And you can have a back and forth between them. Leia trying to convince Kylo about his wrong ways, trying to make him realize that he's Ben Solo, that he's not the First Order's puppet. Kylo feeling all the rejection, the neglection, and the anger that he felt for leaving him with Luke instead of being there. Leia saying that she had to do those because she felt like the galaxy is putting a lot of pressure. The First Order was rising to power, and she didn't want anything that happened to Alderaan and happened to all those planets that were under the boot of the Empire happen again. She was trying to convince herself that if she put herself into the fight, and maybe Kylo becoming a Jedi might balance even the odds and help them achieve victory. Something like that. Like, have those conversations. And you can have them in private. You can show the character development of Leia, and you can show that she's getting desperate and she's getting a little reckless. And sometimes making bad decisions. Yes, you can have her make mistakes. After all, she is the mother of one of the worst villains of all time. She is basically trying to figure out a way to bring him back to the light with no avail. And you can have those scenes while also having scenes with Poe and Leia and Rey. Like, you can create this between dynamics of family, like the found family that Leia found in Poe and Rey, maybe teaching them about leadership, about space, about how to handle the New Republic, or something like that. Like, have interactions with Leia. Rey and Poe are trying to learn from her, and yeah, you can have Poe also make the mistakes. Like, he thinks that he can be those dashing heroes making the plans with little chance to success, and Leia trying to tell him, no, you can't do that because only it results to dead heroes, no leaders. And this is also bringing Rose Tico. So during the movie, whatever is in the beginning or in the middle of it, you can have Rose's sister died and she's all sad, creating a connection with one of the characters. And since Finn is in another planet, let it have it with Rey. Like, you can create this dynamic between her and Rey and Tico and Rose Tico, and you can have both of them interacting, like feeling lost without families. Maybe Rose is mad at Poe for his plan that resulted in the death of her sister. Maybe Rey is getting desperate with the whole trying to get to the First Order. She's getting very anxious because she wants another strategic plan. This is where the point where all the characters are trying to get their development. And yes, this is something I propose. Have Rose and Jarius, the initial top character, be with Rey. Maybe Jarius realizes, oh my god, there's a found family or something like that. I don't know. Like, create like this connection between Jarius and Rose and Rey. Maybe they start to form plans on their own that might go against the New Republic in order to get to the First Order. I don't know, something like that. And you build this connection between the three of them. Rey's getting distant from Poe, and that's one of her best friends. And yeah, you can show the divide of the characters. This is the point where the characters are starting to split apart. Finn is in another planet, so he cannot help, which makes him the glue of the whole thing because it connected with Poe and Rey. So Poe is trying all the while figuring out how to stop the First Order. Meanwhile, making mistakes, making realizing that he needs to be a better leader. Leia tells him that. Rey getting desperate to get to Kylo Ren because she hasn't forgiven him for the torture and for the death of Han. And you can have that, Rey talking to Leia about how she feels that the death of Han really made her mad or made her closed off because it was like a father for her. And maybe Leia starts to realizing that while seeing Kylo in the Force communications. all the while we see the First Order. You can have scenes of Kylo talking about how he went into the dark side, like he started to train under Luke's hand, how he's starting to feel this. Maybe get the perspective of Luke, how he sensed darkness in Kylo and trying to tell Han and Leia about it, but then realizes that he destroyed the entire Jedi temple that he created along with the other students, and Kylo did so with the Knights of Ren. Maybe he was corrupted just like Vader. Maybe have that point of view. Maybe have Leia's point of view of how everything went down after she left it with Kylo. And you can also have the perspective of Snoke. So in this case, a lot of complaints about Snoke is that he wasn't revealed to be Darth Plagueis, but I don't think it would have worked either. So have the reveal of Snoke be like, I don't know, some Jedi, a youngling that he was attacked by Vader in episode 3. Maybe he survived. I mean, we've seen characters survive wars, and maybe he start to be like, have it be little, not that much. Don't take the portion of the film. Like, have it be explained by Snoke, how he realizes that the dark side was the only way. Then he took over the First Order and decided to become Supreme Leader, having these massive Sith powers, and how he found Kylo and he thought that he managed to corrupt him, and how Kylo was eager to join. And this is where we show how everything was a ruse. So here's what I would have done in the climax. Finn decides to go to the others. Luke doesn't try to stop him. In fact, he tells him, you need to go because I believe you're in danger. He says, but what about the Jedi training? Isn't that complete? Yes, it is not complete, but you can complete it for me. I taught you everything you can. Now it's your turn. And besides, these are your friends. Just because you have the Force doesn't mean you need to be defined by it. You can make your own rules fit, or you can make your own destiny. Something like that. I would have made that writing, so that doesn't make Luke look like a grumpy old man. So Finn goes and enters the how is it called? That's the big ass ship from The Last Jedi, where Snoke is. He gets captured by Kylo. Snoke tries to taunt Finn. All the while we see the Resistance in the Salt Planet that we saw them at the end. Maybe all the ships are in orbit, and then we see Leia seeing the Force communication with Kylo, and then in a moment she tries to convince him, please, you need to stop him before it's too late. Stop Snoke from doing this. And Finn is brought to the execution to be executed by Captain Phasma. You think I would have forgotten about her, but in this case, I will have her used in a different way. So a lot of people said that was the big rivalry of the sequel trilogy, or at least it was supposed to be before she was killed off in The Last Jedi. But in this case, and this might sound controversial, yeah, kill Phasma here. But having it be like the first step of Finn's arc, have it kill his own oppressor or defeat his own oppressor doing that. But before he even gets to be executed by Phasma, have Kylo, just like in the movie, ignite the lightsaber that he acquired from Finn, the Luke's lightsaber, kills Snoke, and believes, and now Leia sees this and says, okay, now call off the execution, tell them to stop the Resistance. I said, it's time to let all things die. And then you revealed that it was Kylo who chose the dark side, that he wasn't seduced, that he wasn't manipulated by anybody or anything, because he felt like, this is a great power and you tell me to stop it? No, I'm going to use this power and I'm going to make myself Supreme Leader. And everybody is in shock. And then he starts the attack on that planet. Leia is heartbroken. She doesn't know what to do. Poe has to take command and says, we need to evacuate into the planet. They're all in orbit, so they go into the planet. Leia is distraught and tells, no, I'm staying behind. Rey doesn't want to do that, but Leia forces them to leave. Maybe she pushed them with her force, I don't know. You can do that. Have Rey and the others be in the planet. That makes Rey very mad at Poe for not stopping Leia or convince her to retreat into the planet. This is the point where Rey is starting to get angry at everything and she doesn't know what to do except to retaliate. So this is where we have the most emotional scenes. Then Kylo Ren, after declaring himself the Supreme Leader, then he goes into the planet, starts the attack on the New Republic as they want to kill the Resistance, some of the soldiers at least. Leia has no choice but to do the whole Poldo scene, in which it will be now renamed as the Organa maneuver or something like that. Finn manages to liberate himself, fights Phasma, and during the incursion he defeats her. Maybe during the climax, then you see Luke stepping in to confront Kylo Ren. Then you have them, well, you know, the whole scene between the force projection and all that. And this is where it gets interesting for me, because in this scene when Luke is revealing to Kylo that he's a force projection, then you do the force communication, in which you can see during that encounter that Leia decides to do that speedlight bullet maneuver that Poldo did in that film. But she feels all alone, and then Luke appears and says, it's okay, I'm with you till the end, sister. And says nothing is really gone and something like that. Have that communication. Then you see Kylo realizing that, seeing that Leia's about to do something, says, I'm sorry, Kylo, I'm sorry I couldn't save you, but I can't save the Resistance, I can't save the Republic. And you make Kylo realize, oh my god, what is she going to do? And then boom, destroys the ship with the maneuver. Luke disappears and Kylo screams, no! And you can have Finn in the ship recuperating the others. But on the evacuation with some of the Republic ships, we see that Rey decides to split from that army, saying that no, if you guys are not going to do this the right way, I'm going to take matters in my own hands. Kylo needs to pay, and I'm going to make that happen. And she goes alongside Rose, who still is mad at Poe for what happened. Jarvis can join, and they form their own little group band, and you can have her sell off, finding a way to kill Kylo Ren. That will be the arc. Then you have a scene in which Poe and Finn reunite. He asks, oh, where's Rey? And then they have to leave, and then there you go. So yeah, both Leia and Luke both die in this film, and like I said, I know a lot of people don't like that, but trust me, it's something that I feel needs to happen, because it needs to show that it's going to be something different and new, that it's going to be about the new characters. I know that sounds like something you guys don't like, but at least in this version I give Leia and Luke some badass moments and some heartwarming farewells, and you can have a scene between Leia and Luke saying goodbyes, the final calling card, and that allows Carrie Fisher to bow out of the character in a badass way. I mean, the Poldo maneuver, whatever the logics you have against that, okay, that's fine. But you cannot argue that at least it's a cool scene, and it would have been a lot cooler having come from Leia, since she is fighting for something bigger than herself. So that's what I would have done with The Last Jedi. And you can have the heroes retreating into another planet, figure out how to stop Kylo, thinking, yes, the war is just begun, Luke is indeed the last Jedi, because throughout the film, that's also something I want to add. Luke wants to teach Finn that the Jedi's time is done. That they have to let other people, other knights and warriors, take the place. Remember the past, but do something better with the future and present. This brings us to Rise of Skywalker. Now, a lot of people have already give their complaints about Rise of Skywalker, what it could have been, what it should have been. So, what would it done in this version? So, like I said, this is not the final part of this franchise, but I'm gonna make it into the most important one. And like I said, I'm gonna make this into the Infinity War of Star Wars, which basically took a page of Empire Strikes Back, but in this case have it be even bigger than that. So in this case, everybody is in a different field. We see Finn training to be a warrior. We see Poe leading a chart of Republic soldiers into battle, into cover missions. You can have a scene of Rey recruiting more people to her cause, like Zori and Babu Frick. You can have them create like something. In this case, I will have Rey in a very important mission to find a way to kill Kylo Ren. So in this case, whatever happens, I forgot to mention, in The Last Jedi, in a moment to submit himself as the Supreme Leader, Kylo destroys Luke's saber, symbolizing the end of the Jedi. Like, that's the whole thing. And throughout the film, now that Rey realizes they may need something similar to what Kylo is wearing, she starts to create plans to construct a lightsaber of her own. Yes, just like happened in Rise of Skywalker, but in this case, she is going to be like her ultimate weapon to kill Kylo Ren. So throughout the film, we see that Finn, while he's training and helping Poe with the missions to stop the First Order, we see that Kylo has other plans. In this case, I will have Kylo look for the files, some files or holodecks or holograms talking about a planet. He had heard rumors about how the Emperor stayed alive for so many years, even though he was a weakling old man. So he's starting to go through some of the archives, and this is where he finds the whole hexagonal thing. In this case, a hologramic map about the planet Hexagon and what purpose it's going to be. So this is what Kylo is trying to do. He finds the map and is trying to get to Hexagon, but before that, in doing one of the missions, both Finn and Kylo find each other again. This starts a fight. Since Finn doesn't have a lightsaber at the moment, he then realizes that he needs to use other weapons. But because he has been training using the Force, he starts to using the Force to take the upper hand on Kylo. And this makes him so enraged and so mad that in a moment where the two of them are fighting, somehow Finn avoiding the lightsaber from Kylo, and then in a moment there was an explosion which leads to Kylo being heavily injured. In fact, he has to use prosthetic cybernetics in order to heal himself or maintain him alive. And this puts a ticking clock on Kylo, because he now realizes that time is running out for him and he needs to find something. And like I said, tied it to Palpatine, in which finding a way to make him stay alive. So through that, and then you have the Knights of Ren helping Kylo, or at the very least confronting Finn, Poe, and the others. Meanwhile, we see Rey doing her own missions, avoiding the arrest of the New Republic. She's now becoming a rogue alongside Jarius and Rose and Zuri and Babu Frick and other people that they might recruit. So they form their own pack of, say, resistance. This is going to be the resistance of their own. This is where the resistance is going to have that name, because they're resisting and they're trying to be a different type of rebels. But in the meantime, we see that Kylo found the plans, and now he goes to the planet Hexagol, where he encounters a creature. So in the Travaro version, we learned that the name of the alien that Kylo was going into finding training, and it was a Sith Lord called Torvalum. So let's have Torvalum be the opposite of Yoda. And you can say a little bit of history about Torvalum, like this is a creature that has lived for thousands of years, even before the Empire, even before the Jedi, something like that. Like he has been alive for thousands of years, and he gives his reasons of why he has been alive for so long. He is the one to train Kylo about the unnatural ways of the dark side. And you can have a nice little scene, a mirror version of Luke's training, but in this case it's Kylo's training, in which instead of teaching him about the values of the Force, or why the Force is so important, or why size matters not, or something like that, like something that was saw in The Empire Strikes Back, have it be something important. Have it be like how Torvalum has stayed alive for thousands of years using the unnatural ways of the Force. You can have him have those scenes of training his body, his mind, in which he's actually torturing Kylo into being more stronger, like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, something like that. And you can have a scene in which Kylo confronts Vader, and you can have this moment in which Kylo realizes that he has to stop idolizing Vader, because he learns that Vader did all this and still have a little bit of humanity in him, despite the fact that he was such a monster and did unspeakable things. But in this case, Kylo realizes that is what made him weak, and that's why he died. And now he realizes that he cannot be the same as Vader, that he has to be even better than Vader. And just like in the other scenes, he defeats the ghost version or the illusion of Vader. Then he learns how to absorb the powers of life into himself, which regenerates him and makes him stronger, and it regenerates parts of his body that were destroyed in his encounter with Finn, and realizes that he has everything he needs now, or at least he thinks, in order to make him stay alive. So now Kylo is healed and kills Torvalum in order to put a seal on his I'm already got what I want from you, I don't need you anymore. And Torvalum, before he dies, he warns Kylo that this is the type of power that it was forbidden for not only the Jedi but for the Sith as well, because this forced him to stay in the planet, because he knew that he needed to sustain life. That the reason Hexagol looks as decrepit as it is because he drained this planet from its life, and if he's not careful, then he's gonna end up all alone, and maybe he's gonna just find a way to survive, but who knows what happens to the planet. And this is putting the stamp of, something like that. And that's just the ideas that I have. And during those cover missions, maybe Kylo discovers it, or maybe the Knights of Ren discover it. They discover what Palpatine's plans were. Oh, I forgot to mention. Torvalum, during those scenes with Kylo, explains how the Emperor used those unnatural ways in order to make him stay alive. But because what happened between him and Mace Windu, and his face got all disheveled, that the Force couldn't restore him entirely. Maybe some convoluted way to say that his body was severely damaged by his own power, that absorbing him didn't entirely heal him, and that unfortunately made him so only use the force for some reasons. Like there are times that he has to use the extraction of the life force from some people, and that's but he couldn't restore his own looks because he was severely damaged by his own, something like that. Make a convoluted way, like be creative of why Palpatine didn't manage to restore himself. But that would explain why he stayed alive for a couple more years while he was risen into power. But yeah, all the while, Kylo or maybe the Knights of Ren or maybe Hux discover other plans that Palpatine had. Maybe you can find it in the remains of the second Death Star, how it was destroyed. They found that he had schematics for Starkiller Base. And here's where it gets interesting. So all the while Finn is maybe confronting Kylo again, maybe in Hexagon, maybe in another planet, but in minutes to say Kylo is now strong with the Force, with the dark side, and manages to absorb the life force of some of his friends. Not Poe, he's doing other stuff, but he's in another mission. You can have Poe direct other planets into fights, but then he's the way is getting too much on him. Maybe at the last moment where Rey shows up, she confronts Kylo in a moment where Finn and him fight. Maybe Rey tries to kill him, but in one moment of hesitation, Finn decides to save Rey and now allows the opening for Kylo to strike. But then in this moment, that's where Rose steps in the way and she's killed by Kylo. And this is something that I also want to emphasize, because throughout the film you see Rey getting more desperate to find where Kylo is. Rose realizes that Rey is starting to lose her deep end and maybe she needs to scale it back. Maybe Rose forms a father-daughter relationship with Jarius, and in that very moment when she sacrifices herself for Rey and Finn, convinces Rey to make her realize that it's not about finding the things you hate, but helping the things or saving the things you love. And she dies with those words, and now Rey, with a tremendous amount of guilt, now realizes that what she has done and how far revenge got her to lose a person that she considered like her sister to her. And maybe they escape. Kylo uses the life force of Rose's body to heal himself once more, or something like that. Like he absorbs it, like he is like a drug addict. He needs the life force of others, and he is draining himself a lot. Oh, that's what I got it. Like the reason why Torbalum is still alive, because this ability, as unnatural as healing as it also is not as permanent. So he has to use a lot of people in a lot of the planet to stay alive for thousands of years. And that's why Kylo now has become like a junkie. He needs to absorb the life force of others in order to keep himself alive, because this ability, as good as it is, it doesn't heal him for very long. You can still make that with Kylo. And then while the heroes escape and all that, you can have a scene in which Kylo goes and sees the plans of the Palpatine has, and reveals that the Starkiller base is in the planet Coruscant. He goes there, knows what to do, has his subordinates reveal it to the planet, and then uses the Starkiller planet to destroy all the planets that got in his way. And this is what I want to make it into Shit Got Real. This is where Kylo uses this weapon of mass destruction to destroy the planets. Not just New Republic planets, the ones that were under the New Republic's orders, but also from the First Order. This is making people like the Stormtroopers very, very, very nervous and afraid. It even makes Hux like puke because those are planets from the First Order and Kylo is destroying them. And this is where you have Kylo declaring himself the supreme leader of the galaxy, saying to the entire galaxy this: the New Republic is gone. The First Order is gone. Both were weak, unfitting to rule. My goal is to destroy, but also to rule all of you. I'm no longer a Skywalker. I'm no longer a Solo. I'm the Supreme Leader Snoke. I'm your king. I'm your God. I'm your everything, and you will fear and respect me. I have the Starkiller planet ready to destroy. So if you want to stop the bloodshed, you will surrender and do my bidding. And if you don't, you will all perish. Another thing that I want to add up to this reveal, that not only did he manage to discover that the Starkiller planet is a bigger Death Star, but also that he has the Dark Troopers. You know, those Android Stormtroopers or Dark Troopers from the Mandalorian series. I'm taking that concept into this film because the whole idea with Kylo is that he is straining away his humanity. In fact, he's absorbing the humanity of other people and using more obedient subordinates in order to do his bidding. Kylo wants to rule everything, make everybody afraid of him. He doesn't care about peace and order. He wants to destroy and do whatever he wants. He's basically like Scar. Like, he's saying, I'm the king and I can do whatever the hell I want. So why not do that with Kylo? Like, have all this power so he can do whatever. Like, he doesn't need masters. He doesn't need order in the galaxy. He wants fear. He wants to make everybody so afraid of him that they wouldn't touch him. This is where things get real, and this is where we show our heroes at the lowest point. Paul doesn't know what to do, Rey doesn't know what to do, and Finn realizes that the shit is starting to get real, and realizes that this whole thing was bad, but we can't lose hope. I spent a long time away from you guys that I cannot do it anymore. I need your help. I know things are horrible right now, probably even hopeless, but if we don't do something, nobody else is going to fight Kylo, and we need to convince other people to do so. Throughout the entire rise of Skywalker, I will have Finn trying to convince the stormtroopers to be on his side, maybe tell stories about how he met Luke, how he taught him that there are better ways to live life or to help others, that it's not always about the First Order. Hell, you can even have defective stormtroopers in tons. We are putting themselves behind Finn's cause. Like, everybody needs to put himself back together. Rey apologizes to Finn and Poe for defecting. Jarius is mad at Rey for what happened to Rose, and this is what you realize, they're at a low point, but they're still alive and they still need to have hope, because everything is going to go horrible if Kylo continues to do whatever he wants. And this is where you give Finn the new lightsaber that Rey constructed, and you can end the movie with Finn with the yellow lightsaber parting the skies and ready to finish everything. And this leads us to the fourth installment, which is the Star Wars Episode 10, Duel of Fates.